Tweaktown's GDC 2016 coverage is brought to you by NVIDIA. Basemark was showing off their new VRScore. If you haven't heard of VRScore, it's a new benchmark for virtual reality headsets. So VRScore is two parts. It's VRScore Trek, which is the actual physical benchmark for the VR headset. And then you've got VRScore, the software. Starting off with VRScore Trek, it's made up of three parts. You've got three plastic parts which all connect together, and then there's a cable coming out of the bottom of the third part. There's two photodiodes, and then there's a cable that connects through the 3.5mm jack to your PC. VRScore Trek will actually test any VR headset, including the Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and OS VR. It will test for latency per eye, spatial audio test for the VR audio, so it will test that there's no latency and that it's going through the right channels when it's being pumped into a game. And the VRScore Trek can also be adjusted for angle and height. So depending on how high or how thick the VR headset is, the VRScore Trek can actually be adjusted for that. There's dual photo transistors that simulate the human eye for very realistic representation of the human eye to the VR headset. And then there's also the second part, which is VRScore, the software. So VRScore will benchmark your PC to make sure that it's ready for virtual reality headsets and virtual reality gaming. Basemark collaborated directly with Crytek, so VRScore uses the latest iteration of CryEngine. It has both DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 support, and from our testing, it was absolutely gorgeous. It was one of the best looking experiences that I've seen in VR, with beautiful lighting, amazing shadows and detail, and then the experience itself. We talked with the founder of Basemark, Tero, and I mentioned to him, I said, look, Tero, there's people that actually have a smile on their face while they're playing in a benchmark. This is just a VR experience, and he laughed. It's great, that's how good VRScore is and how much they've actually put feeling into this benchmark. It's almost like they've added a VR experience where you can actually be in the VRScore world while there's a bunch of stuff going down. You start off on a ship that's going down. The ship eventually blows up and there's a robot that tries to help you. It's telling some jokes on the way, and there's a ship that comes down, crashes into the platform that you're on. So watching all of this happen in VR is actually quite astonishing. Being powered by CryEngine, it just looks absolutely amazing when it's happening with all of the real-time lighting and shadow, and the detail was just awesome. There was so much going on, and the attention to detail in both the animation of the robots and the humor, it felt very Transformers-like. I can see VRScore becoming something quite cool for people to benchmark their VR headsets, but for the corporations making these headsets and the people putting software out, it's going to be a really useful tool. For us here at Tweaktown, we're going to be rolling in VRScore into our GPU benchmarks, so you can ensure that your new GPU and your PC is ready for VR gaming. VRScore launches later this year, so be sure to check back at Tweaktown with the latest on VRScore from Basemark.